So, have you ever stopped to think about how you carry yourself? Not just, posture, but the whole package.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of amazing how much it affects how people see you, how they treat you.
Exactly. And here's a really interesting bit, the kind of surprising truth, maybe. Your own inner belief, what you think about yourself, can actually, like, literally shape your external reality.
It's a powerful idea.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one.
Mm-hmm.
So this deep dive is all about exploring how projecting this quiet, kind of unwavering confidence, this sense of destiny almost, can totally change how people interact with you.
And we'll be looking at some really cool historical examples and some psychological stuff, too.
Our mission here is basically to pull out the key nuggets on why self-respect and how you present yourself are just so crucial.
And what happens when you, well, ignore that or get it wrong.
Yeah, we'll dig into why the source material argues that seeming, vulgar or common can actually lead to disrespect.
While that sort of regal but understated confidence does the opposite. It inspires respect.
So the core idea, really, is that you get to set your own price.
How you carry yourself determines how you're treated. Simple as that, almost.
And it's not about being arrogant or loud. It's more subtle.
It's about this calm, self-assured presence that just radiates.
It's like this internal belief in your own worth. It acts like an invisible crown, doesn't it? It creates this aura.
Yeah, it really does. And if you genuinely believe you're meant for great things, people somehow pick up on that. They start to believe it too. It's weird but true.
And that's where the real power lies, isn't it? It means you, the listener, you hold the power to dictate your own value.
How you present yourself isn't just surface level stuff.
No, it's a deep reflection of how you see yourself inside. And that reflection tells others how to see you.
So to really get a handle on the flip side of this, let's look at a historical example of someone who got it wrong. A big transgression.
Right. Let's talk about the bourgeois king. So, picture Paris, summer of 1830. Revolution in the air.
Yeah, King Charles X is out. He abdicates. And this commission chooses Louis Philippe, the Duke of Orleans, as the new king.
Okay, so what made his reign so, well, let's say unique and ultimately a failure?
Well, Louis Philippe, he deliberately tried to just dismantle that whole aura of royalty. He actually hated all the ceremony and stuff.
Really? He preferred hanging out with bankers.
Yeah, bankers, businessmen. He wanted to downplay his status, try to mix with the middle class who'd kind of supported him.
So what were his symbols then, if not the usual royal gear?
Get this.
Yeah.
A gray hat and an umbrella. He'd literally walk around Paris like any other guy on the street.
An ordinary bourgeois king. Okay, but that seems like it could be popular, maybe. Relatable.
You'd think so, but it had these really profound consequences. There's this one story with James Rothschild.
The big banker. Right. Hugely powerful.
Exactly. So Louis Philippe invites him to the palace, treats him totally as an equal, talks business, which was unheard of for a king back then. But then the dynamic flipped. Pretty soon, Rothschild felt comfortable enough to actually chew out the king publicly for being late for a train trip.
No way. So the king treats the banker as an equal.
And ends up being treated like an inferior by him. It completely backfired.
Wow. Okay, so how did the public react beyond that?
Well, initially, people were kind of amused by his whole everyman thing. But that wore off fast. It started to feel like an act.
Ah, like a trick, not genuine.
Right. They saw him as just looking out for his own money and the banker's money, not the monarchy or the people.
So he lost that ability to inspire anything. Loyalty, fear, love.
Pretty much. It just bred contempt, unfortunately for him.
And how did it end?
Badly. By 1848, you have worker uprisings again, demonstrations turning violent.
And his attempts to calm things down
just made him look weak, like he could be pushed around. The demonstrations blew up into a full revolution.
And he just left.
Abdicated that same evening, fled to England, left no successor. Just gone. And what's really telling is what happened right after.
What was that?
The French immediately elected Napoleon's grandnephew, who was basically unknown. Why? They hoped he'd bring back that powerful aura,
Erase the memory of the bourgeois king.
Exactly. It suggests people actually want a leader with some presence, not just someone trying to be like them.
So the takeaway for you listening is pretty clear from this.
Yeah, leaders who try that kind of false chumminess, that forced I'm just like you act, they lose their power to inspire. They just get contempt.
Right. There's a difference between a genuine connection, like maybe FDR had.
Right. He shared values, but kept that patrician distance.
And just pretending there's no distance at all. That's the dangerous part.
Definitely.
Okay, now let's completely flip this. Let's look at a success story. A big one. Christopher Columbus.
Oh, Columbus. So much myth around him.
But the reality is maybe even more interesting, right? He wasn't from some grand aristocratic family.
Not at all. Son of a weaver, a cheese vendor. Humble beginnings, to say the least.
Yet the image he projected was completely different. How did he manage that?
Well, that's the thing. Columbus built that myth himself, meticulously. From a young age, he just had this unshakable belief he was destined for greatness.
He acted like he had royal blood.
Pretty much. He moved to Lisbon, spun this story, and actually managed to marry into a well-connected family with ties to Portuguese royalty, all based on this fabricated background.
That's incredible. And then he goes to the King of Portugal, King João II, with these demands.
Oh, the demands were just off the charts audacious. He wants funding for a voyage west to Asia.
Okay. Standard enough for an explorer, maybe.
But listen to what he wants in return. Grand Admiral of the Oceanic Sea, Viceroy over any lands discovered, 10% of all future commerce.
10%.
And get this all hereditary, forever.
Wow. And what were his qualifications for demanding all this?
That's the craziest part. He was basically just a merchant. Very little navigation knowledge, couldn't even use a quadrant properly, never led men. His plans were super vague.
So how did the king react to this guy with zero credentials making insane demands?
Well, King Zhao turned him down, politely.
Yeah.
But he was clearly impressed by the sheer boldness.
He didn't just laugh him out of the room.
No. He felt this weird comfort around Columbus. This guy with such conviction. He kind of left the door open. The thinking was probably, a guy who asks for this much must be worth something. Unless he's totally crazy.
And Columbus didn't seem crazy, just incredibly confident.
Exactly. So a few years later, Columbus tries his luck in Spain. Uses his Portuguese connections to get into high society.
Mingling with dukes and princes now.
Yep. Gets funding from financiers, makes the same crazy demands to Queen Isabella.
And she turns him down at first, too.
Initially, yeah. But he charmed her, became a regular at the palace. He just had this presence.
So how did he do it? How did this guy with, let's be honest, pretty thin qualifications pull it off?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Mm.
By 1492, Isabella caves. She grants almost everything.
Almost. What did she hold back?
Only the unlimited 10% revenue. And it was buried in the fine print, which apparently Columbus never even read.
Huh. So despite being maybe not the best navigator, kind of rough on his crew.
His real genius was self-salesmanship.
Yeah.
Total mastery of projecting confidence.
Calm, self-assured. Like he already was nobility.
Exactly. Out of proportion to his means, as the source puts it. He mirrored the confidence of true royalty. It wasn't about who he was, but who he believed he was destined to be.
It really makes you think about potential, doesn't it?
It does. Think about when we're kids. We have this boundless sort of expectation. We demand everything, expect everything.
Yeah, no limits. But then life happens, right? Failures, setbacks. They build these invisible walls.
Exactly. So the strategy of the crown is about consciously pushing back against that, deliberately ignoring those limits.
Forcing yourself to downplay the failures, ignore the boundaries you think are there.
And instead, demand and expect as much as a child does. Sounds simple, but it's hard.
And the impact is, if you really truly believe, you're destined for great things.
That belief radiates. Like that invisible crown again, it creates an aura.
And people pick up on it. They start thinking, well, there must be some reason for this confidence.
Right, they assume you know something they don't. And when you wear that crown, mentally, the limits just seem to melt away.
History's full of examples, isn't it? People who weren't born into greatness but achieved it this way.
Oh yeah, Theodora of Byzantium, Beethoven, Disraeli in Britain. People from ordinary backgrounds who used this exact strategy.
They just believed in themselves so fiercely it became real.
That's the core of it. Let yourself be overcome by that self-belief. Act like a king, even if it feels like you're faking it at first.
And chances are you'll start being treated like one.
But, and this is important, we need to be clear about something.
What's that?
Regal bearing isn't the same as arrogance. Big difference.
Okay, explain that.
Arrogance usually comes from insecurity, right?
Yeah.
It's noisy, it's defensive. True royalty, or this projected royalty, has a quiet confidence, almost nonchalant.
Got it. There's a story that illustrates the negative side, the arrogance, or maybe just foolishness.
Yeah.
Hippocrates.
Yes, Hippocrates, good example of how not to do it. So ancient Greece, this powerful ruler Cleisthenes, is basically holding a contest to find a husband for his daughter Agarista.
Okay. A high-stakes situation.
Very. And Hippocrates is the front runner. Smart guy, good family, looking like the winner.
So what did he do wrong?
Well, at this big banquet, maybe after a bit too much wine, he starts dancing. Badly. Cleisthenes is already kind of watching him, maybe having doubts.
Uh-oh.
Then Hippocrates calls for a table, gets up on it, stands on his head.
On his head?
On his head. And starts waving his legs around in the air, trying to keep time to the music.
Oh, dear. That's not regal.
Not remotely. Cleisthenes finally just snaps and says, "Son of Tysander, you have danced away your marriage."
Wow. So maybe keep the headstands for other occasions?
Probably a good idea. It just shows how quickly unseemly behavior can completely destroy that elevated perception you might be trying to build.
Okay, so that's the cautionary tale. What about the positive example of dignity? Hail Selassie.
Yes, Haile Selassie of Ethiopia. A masterclass in dignified bearing. As a young man, Lish Tafari, that was his name, and he was noble, but way down the line of succession.
But he acted differently from a young age.
Incredibly so. Even as a teenager, he had this amazing self-confidence, this natural royal presence.
How did that show itself?
Well, at 14, he went to the court of Menelik II, the emperor, and just blew him away. His grace under pressure, his patience, his calm self-assurance.
He didn't get rattled.
Never. Other young nobles, all bluster and arrogance, would try to provoke him, try to push him around. Tafari never got angry.
Why not? Pride.
He understood anger was a sign of insecurity, a sign he could be pushed around. He refused to show it.
That's remarkable control for a teenager.
It really is. And fast forward years later, 1936, Ethiopia has been invaded by Mussolini's Italy. Haile Selassie is in exile. He goes to the League of Nations to plead his case.
A very public, very difficult moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Italian fascists in the audience start heckling him, shouting vulgar abuse. Awful stuff.
How did he react?
He just stood there, maintained this incredibly dignified pose, completely unaffected, it seemed.
Wow.
And the effect was powerful.
Yeah.
It elevated him, made him look almost saintly, while making his opponents look ugly and small.
So dignity is like a shield.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the mask you wear in tough times.
Yeah.
It projects this deep calm, like nothing can touch you, like you have all the time in the world.
Okay, so we've seen the principle, the failures, the successes. How can people listening actually use this? What are the practical strategies?
Right. Let's get practical. There are a few outward strategies mentioned. First, the Columbus strategy.
Which is?
Always make a bold demand. Set your price really high. Don't back down.
Even if you think they'll say no.
Especially then, maybe. Even if they turn you down, they respect the confidence. And that respect can pay off later. It signals your own self-worth right from the start.
Okay, bold demands. What else?
Then there's the David and Goliath strategy.
Taking on the big guy.
Exactly. Go after the highest person, the top dog in the organization or situation.
How does that help?
It immediately puts you on their level, psychologically. Just by choosing such a powerful target, you create this appearance of being significant yourself. It implies you operate at that high level.
Interesting. So aim high in your interactions. And the third one?
The gift strategy. This one's subtle. Give a gift, something of value, to people above you.
Wait, give a gift upwards. How does that work? Isn't that just sucking up?
Not if done right. It implies equality. Think about Pietro Aretino in the Renaissance. He wanted patronage from the Duke of Mantua.
So he asked for money.
No. He approached the Duke with gifts paintings by his famous friend Titian.
Ah, giving something valuable.
Right. By accepting these high-status gifts, the Duke subconsciously acknowledged a kind of equality with Aretino. It put him at ease, made him feel like he was helping a peer, not just a beggar. And he funded Aretino generously.
So it's a dignified way to ask for help, framing it as a relationship between equals.
Precisely. Master and servant is out, equals are in.
Okay, these are great strategies, but surely there's a point where this goes too far, right? A reversal.
Absolutely vital point. There's a huge danger here. While you need to set yourself apart, project confidence.
You can't take it to the extreme.
Exactly. You must never think you elevate yourself by putting others down, by humiliating them.
Appearing arrogant, looming too high.
It just makes you a target. A really obvious one.
Is there an example of this? Someone who took the kingliness too far?
Oh, yes. King Charles I of England, back in the 1640s. Big trouble brewing, public disenchantment, revolt starting.
So what did he do? Try to connect? Adapt?
The opposite.
Yeah.
He doubled down,
Yeah.
became even more regal, more stiff, completely outraged that anyone would dare challenge his divine right.
How did that go over?
Terribly. His unbending kingliness just offended people more, fueled the revolts, and eventually Well, he literally lost his head.
Stark warning then.
Very.
Yeah.
The balance is key. You want to radiate confidence, yes, but not arrogance or contempt.
Right. Confidence, not disdain.
And just briefly on the other side, that idea of affecting vulgarity, trying to be overly common or coarse.
Like Louis Philippe's failed strategy.
Sort of. While sometimes acting a bit rough or common can be, amusing or disarming in specific situations.
It's risky.
Very risky, according to the source, because someone can always be more vulgar. It's a race to the bottom, and you're easily replaced if that's your main play.
Okay, so it's not a sustainable strategy for projecting power or respect.
Generally not, no.
So wrapping this all up, if there's one big takeaway from this deep dive,
It's that how you carry yourself is absolutely in your control. And it's the clearest signal you send about your own self-worth.
it's about finding that quiet, calm self-assurance. Not bluster, not fake humility.
Yeah, truly owning your space, your value.
There's that quote from Balthazar Gracian.
Ah, yes, it fits perfectly. The greatest of kings, be in their own sphere worthy of one. Be sublime in your deeds, lofty in your thoughts, and in all your doings show that you deserve to be a king, even though you are not one in reality.
Powerful stuff. So the final thought for you to mull over is this. How might you apply this strategy of the crown in your own world? Not to deceive, but to genuinely elevate your impact and how your worth is perceived.
It's definitely something worth thinking about.